What's good, everybody? Back once again, and here to say, I guess the fat lady must be singing because it seems like it's over. So long farewell. It seemed like the Heat didn't have enough gas to cook these nuggets. Um, I was like, if the Heat would have been winning, a bit more puns, but because we're not going to get to that point. This one's over. This is pretty much over. I mean, I was like, maybe the Heat get the game in Denver. I doubt it, just because it seemed like the Nuggets want to put a stamp on it, win at home, that kind of thing. But to me, this was their best chance of winning. This is their best chance of having a say in the series. This game had a bunch of times where it's like the Heat should have either taken the lead or lead had it like within of like an actual real fighting chance. Like yes, it got down to like 8. It got like 6, I think, in the fourth quarter, and then there was just nothing. There was just nothing else. I mean, like Jokic didn't have a Jokic game. He was like 20. He was like 23, 14, something like that. Like 14 and like 7 or something like that. Say what it is. So, but if you would, and then like Jamalmurray only had like 15. So if you would have told me beforehand that Murray's gonna have 15 and Jokic's only gonna have 23 and like 14 or something like that, and then you would have told me like Jimmy would have had like 20, like 25, and Bam would have had 20, even though that Bam didn't really have a good game, like then I would have been like, oh, the Heat won, because I'm like, they had low enough count games, and the sort of matching. So it's like cool. It had been like a pretty, like, that's a game that sounded like the Heat would be able to edge out. Except for Aarongordon came the most alive in this game to put up numbers that I feel like haven't really been there since Orlando days, which granted, I mean, there's other people on the team, so it's not like he has to. Bruce Brown also, who, like like I always been a little bit on Bruce Brown, mainly because I didn't think that he could keep this whole thing up. I felt like he was a dude that like really got like he would give you like 10, 11 points, but like 8 of them be on transitional buckets and stuff like that. But it seemed like in this series, especially considering how bad MPJ has been playing, Michael Porter Jr. KCP has been a little bit up and down. That I guess he's gotten more shine or whatever, or that's also pretty good that he's been playing as well as like how like in the last game, Chris and Braun really saved their tail. And I mean, I don't want to say like saved their tail because I'm like Murray and Jokic was going off. I'm not taking away from them or whatever, but that's still, I was like, this is my thing with like the two, like, everybody just like, oh, I bet doing too much and all this other stuff. But I'm like, that's like, for instance, like last game, that was 60 points. You still gonna need contributors throughout that. So that's sort of the whole thing. But and like how I've always said in these games is that a lot of times it's like the people you don't expect to score. So like Chris Braun, you didn't expect him to get like 15 points, and that's what he did. Or whatever. So guess what? So that when you see that you lost by like almost about 20, you could go to that, something like that. Here in this game, you wouldn't expect Aarongordon to have 27. You might expect Aarongordon to have 15. Bruce Brown to have like 15. Well, they had like 12 more points between them from that. So guess what? Then when you look at it, how much you lose by? You lost by like 13. So therefore, there where you go. On the Heat's end, I mean like Denver, like I said, Porter Jr. ain't played good at all. KCP, I like he gave some defensive stops even though he wasn't scoring like that. And Jeff Green is always just a good sort of like old vet at this point. But on the other end, I like Kyle Lowry. Played really well, even though the stats might not show it. But his play and how he was doing pace and how he would run the floor with everybody, I was like he would play. I was like that's where he was really good. Caleb Martin, you almost felt like he was about to get there and start getting somewhere, but he just didn't. And it's also too that it's also weird that it's like with Caleb Martin, it seems like he hadn't really like if he doesn't hit his shots early on, he just stops sort of shooting. He still plays really good defense, but he just sort of stops shooting in a way that I feel like with this Denver team, it's almost like I'm like it's weird because I'm like they've been playing a lot more half court game better than the Heat, and the Heat's been doing a lot more running like pace. And to me, that's where I would feel like you want to start. You want to sort of hit more three, give yourself extra possession. I know they're not going to rebound the same way, and I know that sort of hurts them because they can't rebound the same way Denver can. But I also just imagine like, especially if you're going to miss so many shots at the cup, you might as well just hit threes to me. And that's how I felt a lot of time, pretty much like with Bam, that I'm like he misses so many chippies that I'd rather somebody attempt a three just because at least the potential of that hitting or that going there or that creating a long rebound, which therefore gets the defense thrown off. There's working principles if you're going to like if you're not going to be automatic as you need to be when you're that close. And I mean like like granted like Jimmy has missed a couple. He's also missed a couple on the inside, but like Bam missing ones where I'm like there's like you either have the height advantage or you beating your dude or you're just like wide open for a jump shot. Like nobody's on you like that, and like he's just like last game when they got it back in with 8 with the bench unit. They put in Bam and they gave the ball to Bam and he immediately shot the mid ranger and missed. And I'm like, I'd rather just run it with the second unit that's just shooting the shots than you trying. And then in the night, like they had a couple chances that I felt like really changed the game a couple times was close. Like Bam had KCP miss. He missed like a put, like his dunk where he was wide open and like stuff like that. Where I'm like, those are easy baskets that I'm like, if you would have chipped those in, they would have been down 4. And when you're down 4, when the Heat is down 4 or something like that, that's when I'm like, they'll beat the Nuggets. When it's something like that close. But if the Nuggets got like 8 points, I'm like, no, cause they hit a shot, and now they're on a roll, and that's what. But I'm like, when it's that close, it just doesn't seem like it's the same thing. But Bam missed so many chip shots, like not only just like a jump shot, but like dunks and like post moves and like floaters. That is like, I'm like, that really throws the time of the game away, especially when there were no Jokic. It doesn't make no sense. It didn't make any sense that the that the Heat couldn't get anywhere. And it almost seems like every now and then they would just miss their shots. That's what it was. They would just miss easy shots, or I felt like what got them into the rhythm, they would stop and they would go away from it. And then when you miss it, you just give the Nuggets a chance to do it, and then the Nuggets would just get like wide open stuff, and they would get to the foul line, and it was really just like it was just really, like, to me, that's where I'm like, that's the end of the series. Like if Jokic would have still been in the game and it would have still been like, we're trying and we're climbing, we're getting in there and we couldn't, and then I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, like yes, it's over, but it's a different feeling. But when Jokic isn't there and y'all still getting like your ass beat, like y'all still can't close it out or finish some things up, then that's why I'm like, oh no, this is just over. Because I'm like, at that point, I feel like that's a defeating blow. Like, yes, like nobody's gonna come out there to lose or purposely do anything like that. But I'm like, there's ways that you lose that you're kind of like, yeah, that's it. Like, I mean, like we're all gonna watch the game and see how it goes or whatever. But if the Nuggets are up like 10, like fourth quarter, I think a lot of people will be turning that off just because it's like, at that point, no. But the thing is, the Heat with a 10-point lead ain't really saying anything in the same way the Nuggets with a 10-point lead is. But I was like, everybody was off. So like Gabe Vincent didn't even like play really the second half at all. Kyle Lowry, which is doing like a good job at pace and stuff. But to me, I'm like Gabe Vincent's the guy that I feel like they needed because if Gabe Vincent was able to move at the same pace that Lowry was like going with, he's a better jump shooter and a better shot maker than Lowry is at this stage of his career. Strus was nothing. Um, it's almost to the point where like I get like Robinson is such a like a person you could like turnstile on defense and stuff like that. Although I think his defense is like not as bad as people make it out to be. Like it's not. I mean, I'm gonna go say like he's good or whatever like that. But it's not like it's just like no effort and he just constantly getting beat. It is sometimes like it's just like the awareness of something. Like he gave Bruce Brown 2 trips to the basket because the way he decided to the defend him, where he just let him go straight to the baseline where there's nobody there. And now to me, I'm like that's not being aware. That's not no like no, I guess nobody communicating or he just not understanding or whatever. Because I'm like he's all right if when fitting the concept. Yeah, if you stick him on an island, he's done. The zone didn't really work tonight as much as I was like. It didn't seem like they used it all that often either, but yeah, it didn't really work. Kevin Love gave them really good minutes and stuff like and things like that to where it's almost. This is what I'll say about Spo is that I think his rotations have been off, and just because I'm like, and I was like, I don't know how much Kevin Love could do it anymore and stuff like that. But Kevin Love gave you really good minutes, and he's at least another big body that at least can help you rebound, pass. He can shoot the ball, and he's not a defender, but he's a person that can get his body in the right spots and stuff like that. To where it is like like if he matched up against Jokic, at least say Bam a little bit, or something like that, and I feel like you could play that a lot better than Caleb Martin, who is like if he's not, I was like, while I think he is good defensively because he could match up on like Murray and stuff like that, and their switches aren't that bad. But the thing is, if he's not scoring and he's going to be outmatched on the rebound and with Gordon and Jokic, then it's almost like I sort of just feel like you might as well just ran Love out there. I also think too that he should have gave Highsmith a little bit more. I was like Highsmith. I felt like should have been getting some burn these last couple games just because it's not like he had to play it in the playoffs, so he already had playoff type stuff. But to me, I'm like he could have been what Christian Braun has been to the Nuggets or what Bruce Brown has been to the Nuggets. Just like offense, he's still gonna come out there and play defense. He's also a little bit young. He's also a young dude too. But I'm just saying he gives you a more athletic look as well too. Where it's like I feel like you're not missing anything crazy. When you don't have Vincent or you don't have Martin or any one of them really going in the game. They didn't really give Zeller any run here, which yes, Zeller had been like good in the series, but he still is a body to do. I heard somebody talk about like they should play Udonis Haslem. I'd like to see it, but I was like at this stage he would have. I mean, maybe it's the fouls. That's about it. But yeah, I was like, I mean, and it's one of them things that if Oladipo and Tyler Hero was able to play, probably a different series because those will be replacing some of these players right now. But I just think that he just ran out of gas pretty much. And to be honest, I think I was like the Nuggets. I was like the Nuggets haven't ran out of gas because they got, even though they're running about the same amount of people, their depth is a lot different of who could be top person. Like like the Heat talked about the whole thing of like who's like the leading scorer. It'd be Jimmy, Caleb, Vincent, stuff like that. But the difference is that Jamal Murray had played in a situation where he had to be the dude from like years ago in the bubble. So he's been here. Jokic had been the guy. Aaron Gordon had been the dude in the playoffs with Orlando. Bruce Brown had played in the playoffs a couple times as well. Jeff Green, like we said, vet. I was like he played the playoff for several years and stuff like that. KCP, I was like champion. So it's like you have these versus like a lot of the people that's on the Heat, Kyle Lowry, but he's like 30, he's like 37. You know, Strus was on that bubble team. Duncan Robinson was also on that bubble team. They were also different players at that point. And Robinson had actually like proved crazy. He's actually been really good. Um, and I just feel like I feel like they run with the pace and then they don't use that to their advantage in a lot of the Heat games. I'm like, you run down the court, and I'm like, there'll be like mismatches, there'll be things to do, and they don't do it, and it just like it blows my mind. I'm like, if you got them all discombobulated, y'all should just like take the shot. Just take the shot. Stop doing like I was like the pump face doesn't work when the guy just only went right here and he still don't shoot the shot. Stuff like that has been sort of like also frustrating with them. But hey, it's pretty much it. It's pretty much over. I was like the Nuggets are gonna win. I was like, I wanted Miami and Jimmy to get it. I don't really care for Denver anymore, and not I don't dislike Jokic. I just don't like Jokic's people. Like the people that talk about him, stuff like that. Cause I like, even on the commentary, it just be like nauseating because in a lot of ways, I was like, I get that you're trying to give him the praise, but I'm like, he's getting a lot of weird praise that I'm like, I don't remember Giannis getting this praise, and he was a 2-time MVP and champion. Like, I don't like they're talking about him all the time, like in a way that I'm like, I do understand it, but let's not go ridiculous with it. I don't know. That might be a separate rant later on. Just everybody else talking about it. It's because it's like it made me think about how people talk about Steph Curry, except for I'm like, like it. I felt like it was a different way of like Then after he got the championships and stuff like that too, and he also got the MVP. But I'm like, with Jokic, it's like we never seen anything like this before. And I'm like, let's not get carried away. Steph, we never seen before. This is not the same thing. But anyway, if you like any of my recap or any of this, like Miami Heat sorrow story because last run in the anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks. If not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, peace. I'm out.